The holy grail in our field has been helping women with older eggs. Up until recently, we've told women as they get into their 40s that their eggs are aging, that they're born with all their eggs, that there's really no way to reverse that aging process in their eggs. And if their eggs have gotten too old, the only alternative is egg donation. And certainly that's been the standard. But it's a very emotionally charged problem because the only recourse for the patient is to use an egg that's not genetically her own. And as you can imagine, that's a bit of a troubling decision to contemplate. Recently, there have been some exciting developments that suggest we may be able to make a dent in this problem. Aaron Shui, a scientist from Stanford, recently published an article where they took a biopsy of the ovary in older women, treated it in the laboratory with a so-called inhibitor that allowed the follicles or the eggs that were left to start all growing at the same time. This tissue was then reinserted into the woman in the area of her pelvis and her ovary, and many eggs started developing at the same time that were otherwise thought to be lost forever. And there have been half a dozen pregnancies now described from this exciting new work. It requires surgery. It's fairly invasive, and it's very, very preliminary, but it shows us that there may be some hope for women, even in their mid-40s, that were previously told egg donor is their only option. There's also been work done isolating what are called ovarian stem cells from the ovary, and there's hope that these stem cells that now seem to exist can be manipulated in the laboratory to grow into full mature oocytes, and that the patient might actually in the future be able to make some, quote, new eggs even when she's in her 40s, and that might allow a new supply of eggs to be used for her, and again, not to resort to donor egg. And then finally, we're starting to find in the laboratory, in the Petri dish, some means of affecting the older eggs, particularly their mitochondrial function or their ability to make energy. And if we can enhance these ovaries and these eggs' ability to make ATP or energy, which sustains their growth up until the point where the embryo implants, we can, if you will, rev these eggs up and help them turn into babies, where in the past they didn't have that capacity. So there's some different avenues of research that may all end in the same direction, which is helping older eggs do better instead of only having egg donor as sort of a bypass for the problem. I'm very excited about the research that has been done to enhance older eggs of older women. Because as a clinician, up until recently, my only answer for these women was egg donation. And really that feels, especially to the patient, like a bypass, not a fix. So with these new technologies, if we can rescue some of these older eggs and allow them to turn into babies successfully using the patient's own genetic material, it'll be a huge boon to our field. The research is very preliminary, it's clearly investigational, and I think patients shouldn't get overconfident yet that we have an answer, but there's so many good areas of investigation ongoing that I think within 5 years, some solutions to this problem are realistic.